The Benjamin Dixon Show is only possible with listener support. Go to www.thebenjamindixonshow.com to register for our blog and join the Progressive Army. And now, ladies and gentlemen,
you're now about to witness the truth.
It's the Benjamin Dixon Show.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to this edition of the Benjamin Dixon Show / The Way of Anoa. Just doing a little mashup. Ben had to take the night off. It's holiday season, you guys, and Ben has the cutest little kids, right? Like, they need daddy's time and attention too. So shout out to the Dixon family. Hopefully you guys are having a great family evening. Well, the kids are probably in bed by now, so maybe Mama and Papa Dixon can, start working on number 3. I don't know. But joke, guys, joke. But anyway, thank you guys for putting up with me and my team this evening. I have 2 really cool interviews for you coming up tonight. I just want to start off with just a little news. I know there's been, probably everyone saw already with North Carolina. North Carolina is having special session. We already saw the craziness from last week. One of the things that's supposed to be happening this week today was they were supposed to be repealing House Bill 2. House Bill 2 has been infamously dubbed the bathroom bill, because of its anti-transgender bathroom portions. However, the bill, as many as discussed, myself and Ben included, have discussed, the bill actually has far-reaching implications in terms of workers' rights, being able to raise the minimum wage. It basically forbids municipalities like Charlotte and other places from being able to raise the minimum wage themselves. So it has so many implications, right? Not the least of which is this discriminatory provision. So part of it was that there was an agreement, right? Like Charlotte would repeal portions of its own ordinance, non-discrimination ordinance, and in turn, the state legislature would repeal the bill. So what ends up happening is something really funky happens, right? There's a bait and switch. So Charlotte goes ahead and does its part. The state does not. What actually gets proposed is a 6-month cooling off period, which basically would mean that HB2 would stay in effect for an extra 6 months until people kind of had a chance to think about it and figure out what to do next. Absolute BS. So that was today, and we'll see what happens going forward with this. But I really think, and I stress the anti-worker provisions, not to minimize in the least a bit, right? Like the anti-transgender portions of the bill, the discriminatory portions of the bill are atrocious. They are abhorrent. But we don't want to see a bill that comes back without those provisions in it that still has the anti-labor, anti-worker provisions in it. Because one, it affects, of course, working class people everywhere in the state of North Carolina, but it will disproportionately impact, underrepresented communities, including, transgender individuals that, advocates are trying to protect in the first place, right? So we just need to be really clear. People really need to read these bills and stop jumping on like the popular phrasing of why something is bad, and really look at what's going on in them as we're doing our advocacy work around them. Because we don't, like I said, we don't want to see a bill that comes back, okay, yay, we got rid of the one portion that's really bad, but it still has all this other crap in it. A similar bill, in terms of the anti-worker provisions, was actually just signed into law in Ohio. Ohio, home of that great Republican John Kasich, Mr. Moderate himself. Oh, you people get on my nerves with that. Moderate. Reasonable. He was so reasonable, right? Kasich, actually, his office he just quietly signed into law a provision that bans, similar to the North Carolina bill, it bans municipalities from raising their minimum wage above the state minimum wage. So basically, this is to counteract Fight for 15 movement. Cleveland was set to do something similar, and this basically is to slap them down like, no, you can't do that. There are actually, I believe it's 21 states now have a law in place that prohibit raising the minimum wage in this fashion. And actually, ALEC has model legislation that they've put forth for states to be able to pass, these these you can't raise your minimum wage laws, right? Yay, Alec. You know, if you guys want to, everyone's out there joining the resistance, and we're fighting Trump, and we're taking on the bad guys. Looking at the different the legislation that's being proposed at the state and local level is a really good place to start. We've already had the grip of Alec, you know, deeply embedded in our communities, in our state houses for decades at this point. And there are things that are sliding on the radar. If any of you have watched the documentary 13, you've seen we're in a discussion they have about Alec, you know, putting forth legislation for standing ground and other stuff, and these different, you know, for different people, and people will actually turn in, because this is how stupid some of our elected officials are. They'll actually turn in stuff that has the Alec stamp or heading on it, or it'll be word for word, but they may have missed an Alec someplace, taken out of it instead of putting in their state. So, I mean, we really do need to have that local level advocacy and agency involved in making sure that what is actually getting passed is representative of our communities and the people, and not just some, you know, powerful Illuminati type conglomerate like Alec or some other grouping, right? So those are just two things that I saw today that were happening, because there is all this conversation about resistance and what does it mean to be in Trump's America. I mean, some of what we're calling Trump's America is just America and has been existing for quite some time now. But we've been too busy nitpicking, you know, with each other to actually notice the bigger field. Republicans have been able to do a lot of things. They've been able to pass a lot of things because a lot of us are distracted with living life. And we got to find a way to take time, even though we're living life, even though we're raising kids and working really hard and working multiple jobs, that we can still add value and still speak out where we can in our communities. That's just my little thing. I could talk about some other things like, you know, the knucklehead stuff that certain elitist white feminists say, but she does not deserve any time or brain power than I've already given her. But I will say that with all this conversation we have about Trump's America and moving forward and things of that nature, there's already, many of us already know this, right? Yesterday was the 30th anniversary of the Howard Beach incident. If you're from the New York region and you're over a certain age, you're probably familiar with Howard Beach. Some two black men were beaten and chased by a gang of white people in Howard Beach. If growing up in New York, you already know, you don't go to Howard Beach, you don't go to Bensonhurst. That's when I was growing up in the 80s. As a little kid, I already knew those are places you just didn't go as a black person. Just didn't do it. My uncle shared a story with me on Facebook earlier today. He just talked about in the 60s. He said Rosedale, and I forget the other neighborhood he mentioned out in Queens. They grew up in St. Albans, Queens. He said those were areas that didn't go then either. Like, quite honestly, we were 20 years before Howard Beach, and we could have been Howard Beach. Again, it was all New York City. My stepmother chimed in, and she said in the 70s, you know, and I've already told this story before, when my stepmother and her family moved, they were the first black family to move into their neighborhood in Linden, another community in Queens. They had a cross in the late 60s, early 70s burned on their lawn in Linden in Queens. So this is New York. This is up north, right? Up north supposed to be so much better, so less racist, you know, yay, everybody, Rainbow Commission, ha ha ha. You know, Trump's an anomaly. It's not. It's deeply insidious and in the fiber of this country. And we can't just get caught up in cliches and symbolism. We really got to dig deep to actually turn the needle. So I'm going to turn to Brandon says New York City is a bastion for progressives and liberals who can afford to live there or who are still living with their parents, eating cereal and sleeping on the couch. Take your pick. New York is extremely expensive. God bless everybody who is able to still hold on to that good frozen rent, you know, from the 90s. Because the rest of us poor, meager folk really can't get back up in there if we wanted to. Yes, I'm a bit of a hater. I miss my city a lot sometimes. But anyway, that's just my little bit of spiel for the evening. I do want to get into this conversation with my first guest tonight. My first guest is coming in from Washington. I believe Seattle. And we're going to talk just a little bit about, and this is something that we've gone around and talked about, but I'm really interested in hearing more from people who are actually in these spaces, whether they're organizing, running for office, actually serving in office. what it is to be a person of color in these, and not just in these elected official spaces or in these insider party spaces, but in what we're claiming are progressive spaces. Term progressive broadly, as if it's this, panacea against the evil that is the coming Trump administration. But really, are those spaces really progressive? Are they really inclusive? And do they provide opportunities for us to really actually engage in them? So, Majid, how are you this evening?
Doing great. Thank you so much for having your show.
Thank you so much for joining me. So you're in Kings County in Seattle, correct?
Correct.
Okay, great. So can you just tell us just a little bit about yourself and how you got involved in, your local political scene?
Well, first, my name is Al-Bahadli. I'm an Iraqi American. I arrived to States in 1995, and as soon as I become an American citizen, I involved deeply in this. I become a national delegate and again I become another in 2012. Honored to be a delegate for 16 and to represent delegation as a sub-chair to Philadelphia.
Okay.
That's a little. Yes.
Okay. So in this current cycle, though, you said you did serve as a Bernie Sanders delegate.
Yes.
So I know we've already we've heard. No, go ahead. I know we heard from several people about their experience at the DNC. Can you just tell us a little bit about your experience of just going through that process of becoming a delegate, of serving as a delegate, and then maybe just a little bit about how was the response once you got home when it was time to start reorganizing for the party?
Well, first of all, their question, but to do the process of delegate, you have to go to the precinct, the senators, and the congressional district, and that's what challenge. You have to convince the people you're actually part of the process, and you could go or move forward.
Okay.
But when we get to actually totally different than 2008 and 2012, it's a place where you're not allowed to speak your mind. They want it to be silent. It's not exact, and I felt about the young people that start to see this kind of image of the behavior. I mean, you are not allowed to speak your mind. This is not the way how I expected. Totally different.
Okay. So coming back home, right? We watched the events of the DNC unfold. Bernie,
the DNC.
Yeah, we watched this 2016 summer convention. We watched the convention unfold. There's the issues involved with delegates in this respect. Were you a part of the delegates that kind of, I guess, for walked out, had the walkout, when the walkout happened? Were you with that group as well?
Absolutely. And we told them in the beginning, we told the super delegate in Washington State and the DNC, we told them, encourage them to push their vote, because we have almost 1,900 for Bernie. The difference, we need that 100 or 350. And we encouraged them to go and endorse Bernie Sanders. And during the call, I mean, really, obviously, we hold a map. We said, look, this is wrong. This is you actually Donald Trump president. What are you doing? Accept it. So we walked out. We tried to send a message to DNC, super delegate. You're done. You are taking the country to the wrong direction.
So so the stuff happens in DNC. So how is it when you come back? Do you guys immediately start trying to organize, or is there a little bit of a lull of activity before the party reorganization?
No, it's different. Each delegate, they have their own. We are in different districts. Some from the south, There is several events we attend, but to me, I actually came home and then I traveled to Chicago, New York, Ohio, and Detroit. Out, encourage people to be involved in the process and get out the vote. Some other people know they attach to the party and work with the party to move the process forward. So it depends. To me, as a Bernie Sanders delegate, among a lot of delegates, none of the Washington Party, Democratic Party, have reached out to us, wanted to be part of us. Could you please come over? None. No phone call, no email, nothing. We totally been isolated.
Okay, I'm having a little, you're breaking up just a little bit. Maybe try taking out your headphones. I think that might help us a little better, and just speaking without your headphones. Because we heard you just fine before we started, but all of a sudden it just started getting a little choppy just now. Are you still there? Okay, or you could just try, plug it back in and then maybe hold the mic part. Oh, he's muted now too. So while we're trying to work the audio, so you wouldn't believe this, but we actually tested audio, and I tested audio actually with my next guest too before all this happened, and everything was just fine. So all of a sudden, I believe those gremlins are back. Yeah. Oh yeah. So anyway, so another story. I guess I can talk about that girl that I don't really want to talk about. No, I'm not going to talk about that girl I don't really want to talk about. There's a lot that happened today. Yes, like I said, yesterday was the 30th anniversary of Howard Beach. Oh, this was really interesting. There was an article earlier today that was just talking about how Trading Places, which is actually one of our Tonga family movie favorites, Trading Places starring Dan Aykroyd and Eddie Murphy. It's a classic movie. Pretty sure most of you have seen it.
Okay.
If you haven't, check it out. Oh, there you go. Yay.
Now I can hear you.
Okay, wonderful.
Yay, I'm back again.
Okay, wonderful. Let me just back up. Back up a little bit.
Yes.
Back up a little bit. So you were saying though, coming out of the at the convention,
Yes.
just can you just repeat, start from there with your convention experience?
Yes. Okay, so we came from the convention and we are from different districts. Some of
Right,
them
okay.
north, some of the south. To me as a person, I decided to go ahead and go canvassing in Ohio, Detroit, and Detroit, Michigan, Chicago, and in New York. Go through the Arab community and ask them to be part of the process and get out the vote. Some other
Okay.
people really involved with the party, and they try to get out the vote and encourage people. But me, along with a lot of national delegates, there is none of the Washington State Democrat reached out to us and said, "Hey, we want you to be part of us. Come on, help us."
Okay.
We've been totally isolated. We've been totally ignored. And that's clear now. Can you hear me?
Yeah. No, you sound great. Crystal clear.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
So when you're working, so you guys are different districts, and you're working on working within your community. So what was the response from the Arab American community when you were out there trying to organize and work with people to kind of get them involved in the process?
Especially the young people. I'm really focused about the young people because I believe they are the future and they could make a huge impact and change. And there's a lot of them, the high schooler and college. And when I go them and they find someone actually was in the Sanders campaign or from different state and coming all the way to talk to them, they really appreciate. And I got a lot of support from Arab community and Muslim community, and they were helping me out in the street. So they were really excited.
That sounds really good. So we come a little forward. We've now had the election,
Yes.
the general election. What
Yes.
kind of was we've had the general election, and now it's time to do party reorganization.
Yes.
So how has that process been for you all in Kings County?
Well, it's totally different. I mean, we could debate about this issue.
Mm-hmm.
You support Hillary and I support Sanders and that one support the Green Party, and some people actually left to the social alternative and some independent, and a lot of them said, I don't want to be involved. And we've been debating about this issue, and we thought reorg, it's forgive and start from zero, because we have really a common enemy, and we should reach out
Right.
every single one from different party because we want to defeat the most vicious, sexist person. But what I saw through the reorg, it's not. And I saw a lot of people, they still making comment. It's not. They still, they have this kind of issue of anger. It's like, okay, we lost the election because of Bernie Sanders people or the Bin people. It's not time to fight each other.
Mm-hmm.
Time to stand together, work together. Turn the page, as President Obama said all the time, turn the page, start a new day. It's not you're gonna stick. If we're gonna, here is my other problem. I mean, maybe it sounds like crazy. The Democratic Party, they are spinning in the mud. They spin it around themselves. They reach out to the Democratic only. I want them to break this barrier, this fence. Reach out to other party, to independent, Green Party, social, even Republican. Go ask the Republican or ask the people who voted for Trump. Why you vote for Trump? Go have a cup of coffee. Listen to them. Listen to their opinion, what they said. So when you come with the idea with new strategy, you have an idea why they vote for Trump. What they do right now, they stuck. They are going nowhere. It's like, okay, Democrat gonna reach out to Democrat Party, I feel, is like dying because of the new liberal ideas. They are shrinking because they stuck with one idea. When we try to come with the new vision or a new technique, they immediately they cover their ear and said, I don't want to hear it, I don't want to see it. No, you should hear me. You should see I exist. I'm coming with a different, strategy, different idea. So I want them, the Democratic Party, the leaders, to open their mind and turn the page and move on to next level, which is going to be a real war. It's not a joke.
Right.
It's not a joke at all.
So how do you having done, because you said that you were in, you've been in this since Barack Obama 2008 2012 serving as a delegate then, and now for Bernie Sanders in 2016. So how has your experience been though, as we generically say person of color, but as Iraqi American, as Arab American, how has your experience been being in these particular spaces and trying to organize and work with other people?
Thank you so much. That's actually a wonderful question. I been national delegate 2008, but 2012 also for Obama as a national delegate, and I was a committee member for leadership with the President Obama, a committee member in the White House, and also I am the head of Iraq community, which is technically we are 32,000, 27,000 of us, or 26,000 of us actually American citizens, and I've been working so hard to have them involved and be in the process. And I keep saying to them, look, you gotta be part of the process. You gotta participate, because you don't want someone vote and take your voice. And if so, I don't want you to complain. I don't want you to be whining about something because you are able to vote for you. My experience, I've seen a lot of things. I'm not looking at I don't want to post about the negative side. I will tell the positive. I'm glad, I'm honored to be a committee member for the president, to be a 3-time national delegate, to be a sub-chair. Color. I mean, think about it right now. Right now when we have the most fascist person ever as a president, it's not about losing the general election. I want the people to realize that. It's the livelihood of you and me, of people of color. immigrant, women, you know, LBG community, vulnerable people. We're gonna walk in the street, and some other people, especially if you are in the south or in red state or red district, they might face like some threat or death or get beaten. This is people. It's not a joke. A colored person, I'm really being upset about the what happened about during the election, and totally they listened to us to be part of it. Yes, it's an honor. And here is the thing. Maybe I will be, you know, going a little bit further. Now, I seen a lot of things going on in the Democrat Party and even the whole country. I seen civilians slaughtered in other countries like Syria. Innocent black people getting shot by police. Immigrants being discriminated against them. I seen American people being killed because they are practicing different religion. I seen people of color, they've been kicked out because they speak different language. Daily abuses of human rights and violate against women. Okay, I seen people, poor people getting bullied, beaten, killed because they have a different sexual orientation. I seen the poor getting poorer and the rich getting richer. I seen the innocent people get criminalized while the criminal they are out to get a free pass. I seen a lot of stuff, but they won't allow me to go there to help. I walk one step forward to the party or the process. I've been kicked back 10 steps in the back, or they kick me back. Having a black person or a brown person or Asian or Native American or other person of color to be involved, you should be glad. As an Iraqi American, I'm honored. But can you imagine with my little English, my second language as an American person of color, to establish that much? This is a lot. I have a hard time to go through all these process and all these, you know, political events, because I'm not an American, born an American. I'm an Iraqi American, but I don't speak the proper language like you guys. And to have me to be there, this is a huge. So let me be in. Let me do help. I have a different vision. I have a different idea. And a lot of the guys and a lot of Democrats, they think, oh, you know, we care about, you know, LBG, we care about immigrant, we call about black people, our native people, we care about Standing Rock. No, you do care, but it's not the same. When you see in the fire, it's different than we touch the fire, or we put your hand in the fire. When I want canvassing in Ohio, I asked the people, I said, show me what is the real red district. They took me there, a diner. I'm a person of color. I have a thick accent, and I wear a Black Lives Matter t-shirt. Right there, in the middle. I am challenge you. First time ever, with my Black Lives Matter, a brown man with thick accent walk through the valley of death, the hell. I see the look in their face. I saw how they look at me. I know the way how they look at me, but with a Black Lives Matter t-shirt, walk among us, and we are white, red people, I kill them. It's like not. Actually, it's just a term of kill.
Yeah, I got you.
I want to make it clear. I want to make it clear. But here's the thing. A few days ago, I was invited to a dinner for a Christmas. And I was having fun, and then I hit the table in my hand. And then I stopped. And Vivian and Georgia and Sandrine and other beautiful people, and just were there. And they said, why stopped? I said, guys, I'm not an aggressive. I'm just having fun. I hit the table. I have to be careful with my behavior right now. So when I saw them, the way how they look at me, I challenged them. I said, look, it's a free country. I could do whatever I want if I'm right. I saw the first time how they look at me as supporting African American or Black Lives Matter.
Right.
I know you guys are liberal, wonderful. You feel, you know, the Native American Standing Rock. You feel Black Lives Matter. You feel the LBG. You feel the Muslim. You feel all of those. But it's not the same. It's not. You have to live with those people and feel how they feel to feel exactly what they feel inside. When I walk in the street and I see people look at me because I'm brown, different than look at you. So we lost the general election, yes, for Trump, and we are paying the price, the colored people. And I hope this has got you the answer.
No, that's great. No, that's really great, and it's good to hear like experience from other folks, right? Who like do, you know, who are actually out there and engage and not just are involved in the party, but actually out there doing the work that they do, you know, and reaching out to folks on a local level. As we kind of wrap up and wind down a little bit, what has been with the recent reorganization in Kings County and like kind of like just a little bit with that process, and where do you see yourself with the party and the community going forward?
You know, as I said earlier, every time I move one step forward, I feel the party is kicking me 10 steps backward. And every time I reach out and I feel like being kicked out. Here's the thing, what happened in the reorg, it's a huge. It's wrong. And the person who did that should really a public apology and maybe resign from her seat. I don't know how she can fix it. Here's the thing. She totally approved to other community, to the Muslim and Arab and especially Iraqi. She approved them. They were right and I'm wrong. Because for last decade, and I spent tons of money, tons of my time, tried to engage them in the political. And I said, hey, they want us, they need us, look at me, I am there, I represent you, I care about you, they do care about me. Last week, I went to event to talk to the leadership Iraqi. They give me this look, this smirk look, they said, did you see? You are the leader of the community and they kick you out. You want us to be involved? What happened is the person who did that really flushed thousands and thousands of votes of Arab and Muslim and especially Iraqis because they believed in me. I could bring them in.
Right.
He said, right there, no, you are not welcome in this party. We don't want you. And she used like really hatred language. So now I spent 10 years to establish this love and respect between the Arab and Muslim community and Iraqi community with the Democratic Party. I don't have another 10 years to spend.
Right,
to
right.
And said, hey guys, it's a mistake. And I thought it's just an individual or one person who actually made this kind of horrible mistake by using the language and the timing for her whatever she did. But then 5 days later, the House Democratic Caucus 2017, they promote the person to be the vice chair of Finance Committee. Wait a minute. How you promote about behavior? Are you telling to the rest of the country and the Democratic people, hey, if you misbehave like Debbie Wiseman, she really ruined Bernie Sanders' campaign, and instead of she get fired, they promote her. Instead of said, hey, we're going to suspend you, we're going to send you to how to speak with people of color, our diverse training, or we're going to take action. No, they promote her. What she did, she flashed thousands of the vote. She taught the young Democratic people, hey, you could do it. You could ruin somebody's reputation and you could get promoted. What she did, she didn't ruin only my reputation. She ruined herself because people trust her. And I trust her as a leader. What she did, she totally ruined herself. And I feel sorry for her. But she ruined my political reputation, the one I've been built for 15 years in this country. Plus, my personal reputation. When I walk in the street, a lot of people in my neighborhood, they respect me because I run the caucus in my district.
Okay.
Primary. Now, when they sees me, they look at me and they might point fingers and say, here is the criminal. Here is the guy. It's a personal attack and political attack. It shouldn't be that way. It shouldn't. You got a problem, you talk to me face to face. My heart is open. Come to me. You don't have to use this kind of thing. That's something really, you violate over 35 rule of the party and the parliament. They know that she violated over 35 rule. And instead of punishing her, they promote her to be the vice chair of finance committee. This is wrong. Should I belong to this party? Is this party represent me? If the party said, we don't want you, we don't care about you, why should I be there? Because I care about this party. This party is like attached to my soul. I care because I'm a brown person. I don't want Donald Trump to be next 8 years. But let me in. This person has got to be admit. Does she realize what she has done?
Right.
Did she look in the language and the timing? Did she look how many votes she flushed in the toilet? Did she know how many harm she's done to the young Democrat? Did she look in the minute and said, oh, I admit I made a mistake. I'm going to issue a public apology, said, I'm wrong, I lied, I made a mistake.
Right.
Did she? I don't know, my friend.
Do you think, just in closing, and then I'll let you have, some closing words. But do you think that given what has happened and given the way, I know the King County Democratic Party released a statement, saying that there were things that were done during that meeting that were inappropriate. But it wasn't, it was definitely, it definitely seemed to affirm basically your position, but it didn't go maybe far enough by some standards. How do you see your ability to work with the party going forward, given the handling or lack thereof of this situation?
If I seen any progressive, any real thought of consideration, I might, because I spent 5 years in a prison as a political prisoner back in Iraq.
Oh wow.
And I devote my life to be a Democrat and I speak. And I keep telling the people, you have to speak up. If you have a voice, you speak up. Tell the people what you think. Nobody gonna hear you if you are quiet. If I seen any progressive, any reach out, any serious apology, any something, I will bring me and my community, all the Arab, back to the table. You assaulted me. You did such a terrible thing about my reputation, and then you want me to be there. Show me something. I've been here in 2008 at the convention. 2012, they took my vote. You could look at the DNC vote. They took it away. 2016, my human Palestinian right, snapped right there in front of the national TV. Nobody even mentioned it. And the fight escalated, and the argument between Native American, Arab American supporters. I want to see something really progress. If they haven't done anything and they ignore the situation, why I should be in this party? Why I want to bring my community and my people? Show me something. Show me some respect. Not because I forgive me, I'm a weak person. No, because I love this party. I love the people. Husband and wife, they have an argument, they forgive. I mean like the husband stronger or the wife stronger? No, because they put the love first. And I have so much love for this party. I get her so many times. They need to realize they made a mistake. They need to come with a strong apology to me and my community, me especially, because that's ruined my reputation and my personal reputation. And they need to show me something real so I could bring my people with me to the party. Otherwise, if you don't want me, I'm out. It's so clear.
Agreed. Definitely. Well, thank you. I appreciate you so much for joining me. I know it's early evening over there for you, so I appreciate you so much for joining me this evening. And we definitely need to continue talking, and hopefully you'll come back and we can follow up about anything going on in the community. I'd love to hear more about your personal story. I'm sorry we didn't have enough time to get into some more of your background story, but I'd love to keep talking and keep these conversations.
Absolutely.
One thing I definitely like to hear more about what's going on in communids across the country.
Absolutely. You can have me anytime.
Yay! Thank you.
You can even call me. That's fine.
I appreciate you so much. Thank you.
Yeah, come to Seattle. I'll take you to dinner.
Okay. Wonderful. I'll be in touch.
Okay, absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. Glad we got the audio. See, look at this. Shout out to Andre Roberge, my dude from Seattle, for connecting us. I also wrote very pieces about what happens in Kings County, and from having read all the pieces about this, from reading different statements and stuff, and reading even the letter that came from the King County Democrats, Andre did a very good job of being impartial, and well, at least I think one maybe is a little bit more slanted, but one is definitely a very general, impartial background of everything that's going on. So next up, I'm coming on with switching gears a little bit, waiting for my second guest to come on. Daniel Hanley is an engineer with IBM. There was a Intercept article that went out maybe 2 days ago or so. IBM employees launched petition protesting cooperation with Donald Trump. And as some of you have known, like there's several of the leading like tech people and industry leaders. They're on, this economic advisory panel or committee for the Trump administration, and the head of IBM is one of those people. Now, several folks have said that they will not participate in the creation of a national Muslim registry. I believe it's like IBM and Google and some others have said that. But still, and I'll let Daniel talk a little bit more about the importance of this petition and what motivated him and why this happened. But I mean, this is another type of activism, happening in action, and people, these are workers who are saying like, look, this is our company. This is what we supposedly stand for. Do you need to put up? Like, if this is what we stand for, we need to stand for this across the board. Daniel, how are you?
Excellent. It's great to talk to you.
For those who don't, Daniel's, if you ever see me refer to Batman, that's Daniel. But that's another story for another time. Tell me about this petition.
Yes. I'm sorry, what was the question?
I said, so tell me about this petition. What's going on at IBM?
Well, the petition campaign is in great shape right now, but if you'd like me to start at the beginning, it all started roughly a month ago, November 16th, when IBM CEO Ginni Rometty to Donald Trump. And in it, she said many things. She mentioned that she looked forward to cooperation with the Trump administration, collaborating on projects involving government infrastructure, cybersecurity, as well as some more benign efforts involving road, veteran issues. And she also said to the corporate tax cuts that Donald Trump is proposing. A word, however, of IBM's purported values of diversity and inclusion and innovation, which all counter to Donald Trump's values that he espoused in his campaign. To its credit, IBM opened Ginni Rometty's blog to comments, and there were quite a few responses expressing outrage, disappointment, shock. Some of them expressing quite criticism that was quite scathing. Then there were supportive comments as well in very vague, superficial terms, and great letter change and so forth. But a lot of IBMers called on Ginni to try to reaffirm its core values that it's identified with for many, many years, and also to pursue other initiatives such as.
Wait, Daniel, hold on for 1 second. The audio's coming in. Hold on for 1 second. I don't know. I'm guessing it might be the stream. I'm not sure. Try unplugging and then replugging in your headphones because the audio's a little. Oh, okay. Well, that could be part of.
Okay.
Do you have a set of headphones handy? Because it's coming in kind of funky. The audio.
It might take just a moment, but I can go get them.
Okay, no problem. Because I want everybody to be able to hear exactly what you're saying. Oh, just a little. I think I just gave you guys some background. So we'll have Daniel come back and explain. And with the IBM, like we were talking about, IBM, it's several of the Silicon Valley types are we've seen Elon Musk, we've seen so many who are kind of cozying up on this Trump administration committee, and it's disconcerting for many people. And so I think there was a senior member of Cisco maybe who actually wrote an op-ed and stepped down in opposition to their participation. And Daniel will come back in and talk about the IBM employees and their petition. Again, these companies have said they would not participate in the creation of a national Muslim registry, but the employees are saying that's not good enough. We need something more than just, we're not going to help, track people. We need something better. If we have certain values that we claim to stand by, and I think this notion of corporate responsibility is really interesting. So Daniel, are you there?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, that's good. So just so you were talking about the what led up to the creation of the petition. If you could just kind of just start right there again. Okay, so Daniel, come back in. But this idea of corporate responsibility and corporate engagement in the communities and social responsibility is really an interesting one, right? I mean, there's nothing that actually necessarily requires corporations to be a certain way. But at the same time, there is a sense of possible goodwill and positive returns that can happen if corporations engage in a reasonable and ethical manner, right? And we see that with corporations that engage positively, whether it's with the environment, with communities they're around, corporations that treat their employees really well. So there is some precedence for demanding corporations to do and be better. It'll be interesting to see how this turns out. Daniel, are you back? Hello?
Hey, can you hear me?
I can hear you. You're good. So we could just pick back up again when you started talking about creating the petition.
I'm sorry. What was the last?
I said we can pick right back up where you were talking about creating the petition.
Okay. Well, first we spoke with a large group of IBMers who had expressed dissent. There were hundreds of them who had expressed dissent on the internal blog. We compiled a list of them by phone. Takedown, even social media, we found some people who were to sign on to a statement. Feedback refined a statement that asserted some of our interests and values and demands that we wanted to present to Ginny Rometty and other IBM executives. There were, one, we assert the right to refuse to participate in any violate people's civil liberties illegally and target marginalized groups. Two, I reaffirm its values of inclusion and diversity by expanding, doubling its diversity program. Three, we want to demonstrate IBM's commitment to ethical business conduct guidelines by refusing to engage in any business actions with Trump-affiliated properties and companies so as to avoid the perception of influence peddling. It's actually in the company guidelines. We think that they need to think about it. So IBM on afoul of the law, right? Next, we let in these precarious times, IBMers are feeling really insecure, especially those who might be affected by racist, xenophobic, sexist programs. A lot of IBMers are feeling insecure. We want to lost benefits that executives at IBM have recently cut, including benefits for matching pay contributions throughout the year instead of right at the end of the year after everybody's been laid off. And the severance program was recently cut by like 80%.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So yeah,
go ahead.
We tested this position with many people. We got a great response, not just by myself, but by a team of others. And it included perspectives, not just from the technical business side as well. So I thought it was pretty beautiful how I'll be in accord, coming from wildly different parts of the company, different ideological perspectives. A lot of IBM reserves. All right.
Hello? Okay, well, so yes, I always have issues with audio, etc. And this is a good time to remind you, if you are watching and you have not already donated to my Patreon, please consider being a patron in the way. And that way we can help upgrade everything that goes on the back end. I don't have the fancy studio like Ben does. Ben works very hard to be able to have that studio, and I'd like to be where Ben is to make sure I can provide you with top-notch quality programming every time we're on the air, and not sometimes. But really appreciate you guys for hanging in there tonight. Hopefully we'll be able to get Daniel back. I do want to shout out my December patrons, because I haven't, I know I wasn't able to get to some of these already before, but this is very exciting. And so shout out to the boss, not Ben Boss, Marcus Farrow. I'm only going to do first names, but oops, I already did Marcus's name. So Marcus donated. Thank you, boss man. I also have, I'm going down the list now. Yes, Jamie was one of my first ones, but it's okay. We have Annette. Thank you. Annette donated yesterday. Actually, thank you, Annette. We have Jean Baptiste, David, Lloyd, or I said Marcus, and I think it's Rebecca. But if I'm mispronouncing it, I absolutely apologize, but I absolutely appreciate you. And you actually you need to message me or shoot me an email or something, because you actually get to ask a question or pick a topic for a show, because you pledged $10 more. So if you guys don't know, I'll definitely, well, I know Daniel. So I'll tell you guys about how I know Daniel, because Daniel, I talk about Daniel, I call him Batman. So if you guys have ever seen over like the campaign cycle, if you ever saw the Bernie sign off the side of a building, like particularly the CNN building here in Atlanta or the side of a bank, it kind of looks like a bat signal in the sky. That's Daniel. That's the guy who does those. He's the guy that came up, it's a stencil basically. He has a projection machine and he comes out there in his black trench coat. He reminds me of Batman. I mean, he comes out there, he has his gears and stuff and all his tools, and the big Bernie sign is projected in the sky. It's been pretty cool to see. Daniel is a pretty awesome activist locally here in Georgia, as well as, I really want him to be able to talk more about this great petition, but I did drop the link. I'll drop it again. And I also tweeted out, but The Intercept did a piece a couple days ago on this topic, basically whereby the employees, and there's plenty of them, that are demanding that the leadership, that the corporation stick to its moral base that it claims. One of the internal, they talk about advocating diversity and open exchange of ideas, not refusing to discriminate on the basis of race and just all this other stuff. And they're just like, if we're going to have, they claim to have a very moral and business, people-centered environment, but it's a challenging, moment. How can you say that this is what you're doing, this is what you're maintaining, if you're then aligning yourself with someone like Donald Trump? Now, some may say, well, but of course you're going to, why would you not work with whoever is the president? Well, when that person is advocating for certain policies and procedures and engaging in such a manner that is a threat to civil liberties, to the moral fiber that we claim, are a part of, current contemporary society, if there's someone that's threatening and engaging in practices that will undermine freedom of speech and other liberties, if these are things you claim you're against, how can you then work for such a person in those aims? So I really do think that it's a really interesting conversation that's happening with IBM employees and their senior executives. I think that this, and as of right now, this has been an internal IBM employee petition that they've been using. We'll see if it actually launches and becomes. So there was a Never Again pledge, which is similar, and this was 1,700 tech workers across many companies agreed to never participate in the creation of databases or identifying information for the United States government to target individuals based on race, religion, or national origin, and to minimize the collection and retention of data that would facilitate ethnic or religious targeting. So So they've even had a former employee who actually quit shortly after this. So yeah, he's having problems with the audio. He just messaged me, but this is kind of the challenge. This is what's so awesome, right? Because we're able to bring in real quickly sometimes these really great people to do stuff. But at the same time, sometimes, we have the hiccups and stuff that happen. But again, there are different means of resistance. And no, not the Keith Olbermann wrapped in the flag of resistance. There are different steps and things that we can do. There'll be more stuff coming from the new organization I'm working with, Impact, as well as DFA and some other groups. Also, the last thing I want to close out with, and I thank you guys for bearing with us because we actually checked. This is the crazy thing, right? And I really do believe that there are gremlins out to get me, because we actually checked audio. We actually checked everyone's audio before we started. So that happens. That's the curse of doing things live, right? But anyway, there's some really interesting things happening. There are teach-ins happening during inauguration. Oh, I don't know if you guys saw District 13. No, it's not a new movie. Millennials for Burning are leading the way, or Millennials for the Revolution. I think they've changed their name too. District 13 is this concept where there is a movement house, basically, right? In what we're calling District 13 in the Capitol. Basically, because in the Hunger Games, District 13 was the secret base of the resistance. And, we're the real resistance, not near Tandon and then resistance. But it'll be a base facility for people who are going to do direct actions, organizing in the DC area. This would be a place of operation for people to be able to, whether you need a place to stay, place to meet, place to have, actually, on the level, right? Actually on the ground, because it's very expensive. It's a very expensive place to be. So that's something that launched, that just launched as well. They're going to be, and I bring that up I don't know that will be ready to rock and roll by the time inauguration weekend happens. Keeping my eye out, and I'll let you guys know. But inauguration weekend, if you're in the DC area, there are going to be plenty of teach-ins. There's the Women's March that's happening that has kind of morphed beyond the initial planning. There's also Millennials March, Occupy inauguration. We got to talk to Arakel Bloss last week from Progressive Independent Party, PIPunite.org. So we got to talk to them about Occupy inauguration. They're going to have a weekend full of activities as well as a summit type of conversation to close out the weekend. So there's a lot of movement building. There's a lot of activities that are going on. Like, it's not just like everybody's like, oh, because this is what we see a lot in the news, right? Everyone's like, oh my God, I don't know what to do, or where are we going to go? Or Pantsuits Nation and we're getting a book deal. But like, there is a lot that's happening, and we can lend value where we can. So let's say you cannot get to DC, right? You can plan something in your own community. Whether you care about the inauguration and Trump being president, whether that factors into your calculus, so to speak, or not, it doesn't really matter. But you can find a way to create some type of event, something what's a local issue that matters to people in your community? Or if you don't know what those local issues could be that matter to other people, have a meeting, get a bunch of people together. Is there a coffee shop that's a small business that you guys could frequent, right? Maybe you talk to the owner ahead of time, explain what you're doing. Is there a proposed ordinance or anything coming down the line? What's going on at the local school? Do you have, are you in one of the states? Are you in North Carolina? Like, all that craziness that's going on. Do you have special elections going on in your community? I mean, there's so many different things. Make a list, get a couple of friends together. If you've never done this before, never been involved before, it's really okay. A lot of people that have been doing this for decades suck at it. Team Clinton had a bunch of people who've been doing this. They're the pros, they're top of the top, the best of the best, the elites. They thought they knew better than everybody else, and they didn't. You, the people, we have an imbecile coming in as our president. Trust and believe. It don't matter what you know. It matters who you know and how many people are on your squad. So go build up your squad. and figure out what matters and what's important. And don't assume if you're trying to organize the people who maybe aren't in your immediate community. So let's say you're a middle-class white person and you really, really, really want to work with people in underrepresented or poor communities, right? And you don't really have a foothold into that community. You need to make friends. Use a podium with like one of those, like hilarious. We have a couple people like that in Chicago and in New York. Probably every big city. Got people on the podium on the corner with the bullhorn talking about the end of tomorrow. But seriously though, you could do that. I don't know how many people you get, but you could, if you were having an interest meeting, you could look at the rules for your area. You could hand out like handbills. So it's real cheap, just do a half sheet flyer, hand out to people, at train stations and things like that. But talk to people, right? Do you maybe have like, casual parent friends from school? I mean, just strike a conversation. You don't have to get too deep into it. Like, did you vote for Hillary Clinton or did you vote for Donald Trump or were you a Bernie person? Did you go green? You don't have to get into all of that with people, right? Like that's not even necessary because there are a lot of issues across the board. Like we all want our kids to be, going to school that has heat. One of my friends in Charleston, West Virginia, the school that they've been teaching at, the school they are having testing in, they have no heat. And this is not in some rural, remote area. This is in the city proper. They have no heat. So there are issues like this that are going on. That's a low level issue that if parents, put some resources and some little bit of time and energy behind, gets resolved. So we can look at the small wins while we're building up for the larger, big win, right? It's like one of those comeback movies. One of those kids movies where the underdog team and maybe they lose like a couple of games in the beginning because they really suck, but then they work really hard and suddenly they're in a championship game with the best team in the whole league. There's so many different movies like that. So, we just got to figure out where we can work, how we can, and with who we can work with, because we're not going to be able, we spend more time stressing and struggling to figure out how to get people to like us and come be our friends. It's not even about any of that stuff, right? Can you communicate with people? No? Well, maybe on the ground organizing not for you. Or maybe you need to pair up with someone who's maybe better at doing the talking portion, right? And maybe you're more good with the logistical stuff. I mean, pair up with people who have different strengths too. That's like a really great way to get around things. But talk to people. Don't assume that they're living in fear of the pending Trump administration. You might be very surprised when you start talking to people about what actually are at the top of their list. Trump might not even be in their top 5. But maybe there's some way that you can merge or blend what you've been reading and with what's been going on with them. So it's time to build relationships. It's time to have conversations, and it's time to get action done. And we can do little things step by step, day by day. So Amina says we need to redo this one. Maybe, who knows? But it's the holidays. I really do believe the Gremlins. Gremlins is actually one of my favorite Christmas movies. But I really do believe the Gremlins are out to get me. Or maybe, Ben had the right idea. We just should have called it quits for this whole 2-week break period. I really don't know. But I appreciate you guys a lot. Yes, Michael, I will make sure I read the instructions from my microphone right back at you. And you can also donate to my Patreon to make sure that I have all the equipment that I need so that I'm doing everything properly. Or we can donate so I can get me an assistant, because that would be really great.
The voice from behind the scenes will come in and just say that the link is right above your head now for Patreon. And Anoa's awkward staring into the camera and the monitor earlier was because I was talking to our guest trying to fix things, but forgot to tell Anoa she was still on screen awkwardly looking around.
It's like the voice of the all-knowing, powerful Oz comes in. And so sometimes you guys can't hear him, and I'm just like, wait a minute, can everyone hear David? Or do I just hear David? Like, it's pretty wild stuff happening here. But no, seriously, we've been at this about 6 months now, and things will improve, but I need your help. So we're working on it. But if anyone out there would like to volunteer with booking and helping with guests, because all of us also work other jobs too, and we're trying really, really hard to manage all of this, but we do need help in building out our teams still. Shout out to our Progressive Army, our blog, our writers. Like the relaunch has been fabulous. You know, we have a great team of writers. I don't know if you guys read any of the articles and stuff that have been coming out as of late, but like the past month has been, I mean, we already had phenomenal writing. Goddess Pamela on Twitter just wrote a piece about Black Lives Matter shirts, about the fraternal order police demanded Walmart pull this one shirt from the Black Lives Matter inspired shirt from Walmart, said bulletproof. Have it pulled, and it has been pulled. So there's a lot that's been going on content wise, and so we have a great team of writers and stuff that are really grinding out the storylines. There's a daily splash, which is every day, which is full of updates and news going on around town, around the world, around the country. I mean, we have some really good stuff going on. So hang in there. Eventually, someday, I will get to be where Ben is. Awesomeness. And I appreciate you guys. So I'm going to close this out because it's after 10 and you guys have been hanging in there. Organized an underground railroad across state lines for women needing medical procedures. Yeah, that's that. While someone might think you're joking, but I'm sure you're pretty serious about that, because we just saw today that Texas just defunded Planned Parenthood. Effectively defunded Planned Parenthood in their state. I mean, it's not going to be pretty. It's not going to be pretty. There are going to be a lot of hard-fought battles, and we need to figure out how we can add value to our community, maybe to our neighboring communities as well, where we can't. You can't kill yourself. You can't do everything, right? No, unless you come from a planet called Krypton, or you have some other superpowers or whatever. But you're only human. We can only do what we can do. But we need to at least sit down and figure out how we can add value to the world around us. So I really appreciate you guys very much for hanging in there. I know the audio stuff was a drag. Definitely have that together. But check out, if you guys haven't already, my very awesome interviews with Kshama Sawant it's on my website, thewayofanoa.com. It's one of the more recent podcasts. And also David Daly, talking about redistricting in his book Rat Fuck. So those were a couple of the more recent interviews that are also up on the podcast. If you guys ever miss any of our live streams, not just that we have the YouTube video, or you can catch Ben on Spreaker, but you can also catch us on iTunes. Ben and I are both on iTunes, and then I'm also on Stitcher and Google Play. So, and I don't know, I might switch to Spreaker as well. So we'll see. Still working on that. Anyway, all right. I'm out for the night. Appreciate you guys lots. Thanks for hanging in there. Peace.
The Benjamin Dixon Show is only possible with listener support. Go to www.thebenjamindixonshow.com to register for our blog, join the Progressive Army, and support The Benjamin Dixon Show. It's Ben Dixon! If you like this episode, be sure to share, like, and subscribe.
Consider becoming a Patreon. Go to www.patreon.com/The BPD Show and support The Benjamin Dixon Show.